Hey everyone, welcome to Pipes, Tobacco, and Whiskey. A couple of things before we get started with our episode for today. First of all, if you haven't already signed up for our giveaway, our pipe giveaway, you need to go back and watch that episode. We're going to give away our pipe on August the 14th, so you still have some time. Make sure you go back and watch that video for all the instructions, but we are giving away a Savinelli Mattone pipe, which is valued at retail value is $95 on that, so good way to get a free pipe for the summer. Secondly, don't forget that our tobacco tasters is next week, and we are doing episode 4 of Sutliff's new pipe force. So there's still some tins available online at different stores, so grab you some and smoke it with us and see what you think. I think it's a great blend, and it's really some interesting ways of using stoved Catarini and stoved Rustica. So make sure that you get some of that. All right, so we are going to be talking about something today that I've always had different ideas about, and wanted to kind of come to one thought about which is the best way to do this. When we were in Chicago at the end of April, my wife, as I'm going around looking at pipes and smoking in the pipe tent and things like that, my wife is going around the tables looking for antiques. So she looks at all the different paintings and posters and collectible tins and things like that. And she found a guy that was selling a bunch of stuff that was dated at about the 1970s, okay? And she kind of was intrigued with that. So she found a tin of half and half, a big tin.
Oh, yeah.
Of half and half that was from the 1970s. And she asked the guy how much he wanted for it. And it was, like I said, it was filled with tobacco. And he asked for $10. She talked him down to $8, and we ended up getting a tin of a perfect tin of half and half for $8. When she opened it up, she also noticed that it had an old leather pipe tobacco dispenser. Yeah, which is unique. I'll show it to you at the end of the video. But it was pretty cool. Anyway, this tobacco was so dry that as you picked it up, it would just crumble into dust.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So today we want to talk about hydration, rehydration, because I've done this 100 different ways, and I think I found one way that comes close to being perfect.
Well, that's good, because I've had a lot of questions about rehydration, because I've had some tobaccos that I've bought before. You know, we're trying these episodes for, 3-4 years now. And some tobacco tins that I've bought and I put away and I forgot about. And now they're dry as heck, and I don't know how to fix them. So,
well, there is a way to save it.
Okay.
So don't throw your tobacco out until you've tried this. But, you know, some of the old ways that we all know about, of course, some people would get like a spray bottle of water and just spray their tobacco down, mix it up, and there's a problem with that of overhydrating it and causing mold.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, okay.
Anything that can come in contact with the tobacco is a problem. Can be a problem.
Okay.
I used to do it with old squares of sponges. I used to buy sponges. But the problem is that you can see this sponge has turned completely black because it's absorbed a lot of the oils and things from the tobacco. So it's taking actually something away from the tobacco, and still it's coming in contact, which is a possibility of causing mold. Yeah. Also, you guys have seen the old hydration discs.
I have a couple of those too.
Yeah, that's got a little tin cover, and inside is a little clay cylinder that you basically drop this in water, let it soak, and then when it's completely saturated, you dry it off and you drop it in the jar of tobacco. But again, this comes in contact with the tobacco, and I've actually seen discoloration on the tin, which leads me to believe, am I adding something to the tobacco that doesn't need to be there?
Well, and I've also had hit or miss successes with those things. That's why I've always had problems with them, because they will need to be rehydrated depending on how dry the tobacco is, and you have to keep going to them and keep checking. It's not a solve-all method, give it 3 days kind of thing.
That's right. So I went to a club meeting up at the North Texas Briar Club several years ago, and the best advice that I got was from my buddy Colin Rigsby. Colin Rigsby is the co-president of the North Texas Briar Club, and also helps head up the North Texas Pipe Show, you know.
And a pretty good pipe carver, too.
Yeah, great pipe carver. He hasn't done that in a while, but I think now that his son has graduated,
he's got more time.
He might have some more time to get into that. I hope so, because like his pipes are awesome. But anyway, Colin suggested a way to do this, and I wanted to share that with you. Okay, so what you're going to need is depending on what kind of container you're using to rehydrate. You know, if you're using a mason jar, that's fine. But you need something that completely seals. For this amount of tobacco, it was almost a pound of half and half.
It was a lot.
Yeah, I used a big Tupperware jar is what I used, with a lid that seals, okay?
Airtight?
Airtight.
Okay.
Yeah, and it seals, and I put all of it in there. I could do it all at one time rather than doing little bits. Because with this jar, you know, if you try to rehydrate this jar this way, your tobacco at the bottom is not going to get...
That's where I was having problems with these little guys. Is I had to keep shaking them out and then digging them out and then opening it and exposing it.
Yeah, so you want to create as much surface space as you possibly can.
Okay.
Is what you're trying to do. So I put it in this bowl. But now, if you have just a little bit of tobacco like this, I would say that a mason jar would be fine. Okay?
Because you're touching as much surface space as you need.
Probably. Okay. Yes. Yeah, probably. Now, if you do something this small, then you're just going to need a little bitty piece of paper towel.
Okay.
Just like this. Okay? Nothing serious. Now, for the big bowl that I used, I had to use a bigger square, okay? So let me, what you're going to do is you're going to take this paper towel and you're going to totally soak it. Now, this is where a lot of people have different ideas. Do you soak it in regular water? Do you soak it in distilled water? I do distilled water because distilled water is absolutely clean. There's no chemicals, no, tap water, they add fluoride and all these chlorine and all these different chemicals so that it keeps germs out of it. But I don't want to add that stuff to my tobacco. Mm-hmm. So I use straight distilled water. I would suggest that you do the same. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to completely soak this. So I've got a bowl of distilled water right here. Okay, we're going to completely soak this. So we're going to squeeze all the extra water out of this so that it's just barely retaining any water. This is the delicate part that you have to be careful of, okay? You're going to want to unwrap this. So I'm going to take it very gently and I'm going to unwrap it. I squeezed a lot of the water out. Basically, this is just a moist paper towel is all it is, okay? Now, I'm going to put it with this jar. Now, the great part about this is that the paper towel will never come in contact with tobacco unless you shake it. Don't shake it, okay? Now, I'm going to fold it so that it covers the jar, just like that, okay? No, actually, you want excess. Okay, around it. Now what I'm going to do is basically just screw that back on. And leave it alone. Okay? what will happen is that this paper towel in about a day or so will completely dry out, and the tobacco inside will absorb the moisture. Okay, don't shake it, because then you're making your tobacco come in contact with the paper towel, right? And the thing. So just leave it alone. All right. A day later, just feel the paper towel. If it's dry, it's ready. All right. So we're going to say that this has become dry. Going to take it off, and I'm going to check the moisture level of the tobacco. And how I do that is I'm actually going to spread it all out. I'm going to either put it on another paper towel to check it, or I'm going to put it in a bowl or whatever just to kind of check it. And I'm going to feel all the tobacco to see what condition it's in.
Okay.
Now, this half and half that I had, it needed another dose. Actually, I did 3 doses of that. So it took about 3 to 4 days to completely rehydrate it. You just keep doing that until your tobacco is at the moisture level that you like, and like I said, that's kind of a personal thing. So wherever you want it to go, that's the best way to do it. I used the same paper towel each time because it was able to stand up to the water.
Well, and it feels about as moist as what you would feel like a Clorox wipe or a baby wipe or something.
Maybe
like
less
that.
than that.
Yeah, it feels like a normal paper towel, just pliable. That's about all it is. And there's just enough moisture to just get it on your skin, and it's not even really wet anymore. So, okay.
So does this really work? Well, let me tell you. I took this to the club meeting and shared it with all the guys there. I didn't tell them that it was dry as sawdust.
Mm-hmm. That was 50 years old.
And I didn't tell them it was 50 years old. So I let them all share this. And one guy in particular, David Quisenberry, he kind of felt it, and he says, man, the hydration on it is almost perfect. And I was like, interesting. Okay. And they all smoked it, and they said that was the best half and half that they've ever tasted. Well, because it's got age on it. Yep. It's got 50 years of age. But, I mean, even I did this 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago. Go ahead and feel that.
Ooh, wow. Yeah, it's almost like right what it's at.
When you buy it.
When you buy it, yeah.
Yeah. And it smokes wonderfully. So, it smells great, too. Smell that. Yeah. So, guys, if you're looking for a great way to rehydrate, and again, I want to thank Colin Rigsby for sharing this with me. But if you wanted a good way to rehydrate your tobaccos, especially in the summer, I've got tobaccos that's been sitting in the garage, and I'm sure that some of them are beginning to dry out a little bit, and this is the way I bring them back to life. So don't throw away your old tobaccos.
Yeah.
Make sure you give it a chance. Sometimes you'll find a tin that maybe has lost, you put it in your cellar and it's lost its seal a little bit.
That's what's happened to me.
Well, try this way first before you just kind of give up on it, and see if it works for you. If you have other ways of rehydrating your tobacco, please share that with us in the description because we want to know. There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yep.
But this one just happens to be the one that I know works great.
Yep.
So share that with us. We'd be interested in hearing from you guys. Don't forget, next week is our Tobacco Tasters episode on that new pipe force. So we're looking forward to that. I actually was able to go down to the Sutliff factory before the Chicago show and was on their panel of experts to taste and kind of tweak this blend to what it is today. So it was pretty fun. I got a chance to smoke all 6 of them, and it was really, really good. So, and
they're releasing it 4, 5, 6, then 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah,
just like how it's supposed to be.
Just like Star Wars.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's really interesting. I mean, I never thought about not letting it touch the tobacco. Because I didn't ever really think, okay, yeah, because mold really grows in a damp environment. where there is contact of air, moisture, and organic matter.
Yeah.
And that's all right there. But if we separate the moisture from the organic matter,
well,
now
and you do need to keep an eye on it because, again, it's still getting moisture, right?
but only as much as you allow through the paper
at a
towel.
much less concentrated. Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah. It's more controlled environment.
Yeah, because these things are a little. You don't know how moist they are once you get it done. You do your best, but you know if you let it stay in there for 2 more seconds than what it intends or what it's written for.
You know, my problem with these hydration discs, these humidor discs, is that I'll put it in there and then I'll forget about
That's
it.
exactly me.
You know, and then I'll go a week later, 2 weeks later, and notice that this thing is dried out and that the tobacco is kind of funky. And,
Yep, I'll go.
Yeah, and so I don't like to use that. And this, I was a moron to use sponges. This was like when I first started smoking 40 years ago.
Well, and 40 years ago, that's kind of what they were doing too.
Well, I
They're-
think
every
they
now
had
and then-
these too 40 years ago.
I remember used to buy bulk at a brick and mortar, and they'd have a big yellow sponge in some of those aromatic blends that they had, and that was always you just sometimes had to pull the sponge out of your thing just to put it back in the jar.
Yeah. So anyway, this is a really good way of doing it. All right, guys, that's what we got to share with you for this week. Make sure that you watch that video for the pipe giveaway so you have a chance to win a free pipe. Don't forget,
Make all your piping moments count.
we'll see you next time. Have a great week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.